Good afternoon and welcome to today's lunch break with the Rabbi. Today is the 28th of Sivan, June 8th, 2021. It is Tuesday. Remind you again, today we have our final class of JLI, lunch break with the Rabbi, final class of the JLI. It can happen tonight at 7:30 on Zoom. And we are going to, after this JLI, we'll be resuming the JLI classes starting next October. So come and join us for tonight. Join us in person, join us online, and this will be for the final class of the JLI. As we continue a lunch break with the Rabbi, I encourage you to send your messages, text requests, or suggestions of what topics you'd like to cover, and we will see how we will continue these lunch break with the Rabbi sessions, maybe start doing them in person once again, as things are moving along nicely. Today, we will be talking about today's day on the Chabad calendar, the Jewish calendar, and what it means to us and how it affects our lives. We are now today, as we mentioned, on the 28th of Sivan. The 28th of Sivan takes a very important place on the Chabad calendar, as this is a time that we celebrate and commemorate the day that the Rabbi and his wife 80 years ago came to the shores of America, saved from the Nazis, saved from the shambles and the destruction and the Holocaust that was going on in Europe at the time. The Rebbe and his wife, the Rebbitzin at the time, lived in France. First they were in Berlin, then they moved to France. And as time got closer for them to realize that the place is closing, their father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, was already America at the time, who came already in February of 1940, was working on different visas for them to be able to come to America. One miraculous event which is told that it was Passover when the Rebbe and the Rebbitzin were supposed to go on the last boat, which they seemed then was going to be leaving France, and for them to come to America. The last moment, the telegram came and said that they should not go on the boat, and they were thinking, what's going on? If this is the last boat, this is our last chance. But following and heeding to the words of the previous Rebbe, they did not take the boat. And unfortunately, that boat was then attacked by the German submarine. They were able to finally manage to take another boat a month later and came to the shores of America on 28th of Sivan through Lisbon, Portugal. Miraculous events happened along the way where they were almost attacked, but they finally made it safely to the shores of America on the 28th of Sivan. The previous Rebbe, when the time they came, sent a delegation to welcome the Rebbe and welcome him to the shores of America. He told them that you should know that though he may be dressed in a very modern way, he is a person who has on the tips of his fingers all of the Talmud, the Jerusalem Talmud, Babylonian Talmud, and all of its commentaries, just for starters. The Rebbe was a very unassuming individual when he came, dressed in a gray suit, so to speak, not in the normative Hasidic attire, especially for a son-in-law of the great previous Rebbe. However, as soon as he came, the previous Rebbe then began a new frontier in the teachings and the outreach of Judaism and teaching it throughout the world. To extent that the moment the Rebbe came, he was then given the position that he was take charge of the three umbrella organizations that the previous Rebbe began. It was the publication arm, the outreach arm, and the educational arm. And all those three responsibilities were given to the Rebbe. At the same time, he was also working as an electrical engineer for the U.S. Navy at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. As he had a license, he had a degree in electrical engineering, and he won officially, that was his visa, so he had to do some work and to be able to stay with the visa that he came for. At the time, the Rebbe, as we mentioned, was a very unassuming individual, but at the same time, he brought the level of understanding and appreciation of outreach. Not only outreach, but teaching and recognizing that we need to rebuild Judaism back from the ashes of the Holocaust and making America a great place of Judaism and a bastion of Torah for the world to admire. Never before has America experienced such a revolution of Judaism. Never before has Judaism reached such great frontiers, only beginning from 1941, where Torah Judaism has reached to many different levels and outlets, with the immigration of the Jews coming after World War II and making it a place and a haven for Jews and religion and Judaism to be available for every Jew in every walk of life and wherever they may be. As the passing of the previous Rebbe in 1950, the Rebbe then assumed leadership in 1951 and took it to a whole new level. 50 years celebrating the Rebbe's coming to America, the Rebbe gave out a special booklet which had in it discourses and talks. And most of it discussed about the ideas and the concept of what the final frontier is, us as Jewish people. And now, right before the coming of Moshiach. The Rebbe explains, as we've mentioned many times, the ultimate purpose of why the world was given, why we're here in this world and why we were given the Torah, was to transform this physical world into a spiritual oasis. How much more so when this came during the time of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov was teaching the spreading the teachings of Hasidism, the mysticism and the esoteric teachings of the Torah. Was because Moshiach was told by Moshiach that when the well springs and the esoteric teachings of the Torah will come to the furthermost part of the world, that every single Jew should have access to the Torah. That is the final frontier. That is going to pave the way for the coming of Moshiach. Paving the way for the coming of Moshiach means that every single corner of the world, every single person, Jew and non-Jew alike, should come to recognize and identify with a greater being, Almighty God. The Rebbe, throughout his years of leadership, sent shluchim, Chabad rabbis throughout the world, teaching and spreading the word of Judaism, making sure every Jew has access and has the ability to learn about Judaism. And every non-Jew to learn about the 7 Noahide laws, making this world a better place. When CNN reporter asked the Rebbe what his message is to the world, the Rebbe responded to do another act of goodness and kindness, making this world a better place in preparation for the coming of Mashiach. The Rebbe's whole objective, from the moment he came off the boat, for the rest of his life, was transforming America, transforming the world to a beacon of Torah, of Judaism, of goodness and kindness. Not a day went by that the Rebbe didn't ask from himself and from the people around him, what have we done today to bring Mashiach a step closer? Every single day was fused with an enthusiasm, with a strength, and imbued with the possibility and giving us all the strength to bring Mashiach. This all began 80 years ago today. In Hebrew, the number 28 is the numeric value of koach, strength. Sivan is the month the Torah was given to us. The Rebbe would learn and say, koach Sivan, we have the strength in the month of Sivan, the strength in the month of the Torah. Nothing happens by coincidence. The day that the Rebbe came and the day symbolizes a lot to us, that we have the strength to bring the Torah to the masses, to wherever we know. Just like Abraham, maybe he didn't study Torah, but if he knew Aleph, he taught somebody Aleph. If we know something, we have the opportunity, the responsibility, the ability to teach something as well. Every single one of us. Doesn't make a difference if we're a rabbi or not, if we call ourselves Hasidic or not, religious or not. We know Aleph, we need to teach Aleph. We need to be able to teach and educate those around us, taking the strength and the power that the Rebbe came 80 years ago, giving us that responsibility, transforming this world, the lowest part of the world, the lowest level of the world, the deepest darkness, the most furthermost place, making it a bastion of light, a beacon of light, and a place of holiness. Let us heed the Rebbe's call. As we prepare, coming from the 28th of Sivan, in just a short few days will be Gimel Tammuz, the time when we commemorate and remember 26 years ago where the Rebbe physically left us. We have the opportunity that we live close by, that we can go to the Rebbe's resting place. And we can pray on behalf of ourselves and our family. We can pray on behalf of ourselves, our family, and the entire universe to finally bring upon an era of peace, tranquility, happiness, and health. But it's up to us. We need to make that decision. We need to realize that we have what to share. We all can share. And the Torah is giving us the strength to share, that we all should share light, happiness, the teachings of Torah to all. May it be healthy and well. Wishing you the very best for a wonderful day, bringing and making this world a holy place for God. All the best and have a wonderful day. See you again tomorrow, lunch break with the Rabbi at 1 p.m.